Hello, I'm EnterElysium and welcome to our news today. The guys who were doing the S.T.A.L.K.E.R Kickstarter a while back, that got kicked off Kickstarter for being a little bit too dodgy, are back. And also Papers, Please on iOS was rejected and is now okay again because of one of the nudity options. So, let's tackle Papers, Please first. Papers, Please is a game where you play border control, if you don't know, and you have a body scanner, and it can scan people, and then you get a nude picture back, and then you can look if they have a gun or whatever. There is an option in the options setting to turn the nudity setting off, and this was going up for iOS release recently, and one of the iOS people looked at it and said, no, we are rejecting it because it's pornographic. Turns out that it was a mistake, and that one of the reviewers for the game on Apple's end looked at it, saw the nudity option setting, and extrapolated incorrectly, to use their terminology. So, in effect, their reviews aren't actually looking at the game at all, they just looked at the options menu and went, oh, it's obviously pornographic because it does a nudity option. Nudity option doesn't equal... How does a nudity option equal pornography? I'm sorry, but nudity is a natural thing of life, and then we put clothes on, so pornography is a deviation from the norm because it involves X and stuff. It just shows that Apple's review policy is apparently a little bit broken for what they allow in the store. It will now be coming back with the full nudity option, and you can have the option setting to toggle it on and off. I never really thought that body scanners were particularly, good, but I didn't ever think of them as pornography. The other piece of news, a while back on our own news we talked about this Kickstarter to launch a Stalker-esque game on Kickstarter that said it's going to be the spiritual successor to S.T.A.L.K.E.R. Except that it was asking for a lot of money, it was going to be an MMO, going to be all on these things, going to be on every single device, going to be, using a proprietary engine, going to be everything ever by a small team of devs who were totally part of the ex-S.T.A.L.K.E.R studio and then appeared to have no connection to them that anyone could really discern, had connections to a very shady business dealing in Las Vegas, and eventually, despite getting fully funded and about to reach the end of their Kickstarter, Kickstarter looked at them and went, yeah, we should probably pull this funding. Yeah, no, we're kicking off Kickstarter. Rightly so, because it looked incredibly dodgy, and if you look at the funding skew, it looks like that the funding skew certainly matched the dodgy funding skews you see when people back their own Kickstarter for large amounts of money to try and make sure it passes to get the rest of the money. Now, Kickstarter doesn't pay out the money unless you get past, the certain milestone you set. So you say, okay, I need £200,000 to make this game. You get that amount of money, sure, you get the money. If you get less than that, you don't get the money. Because if I say I'm going to build this game and you give me $10, I don't see why I should be given the $10 because $10 is not going to make a game. It's that simple. So the fact that you only get the money if you go past a certain milestone is good. I'm sorry, certain devs say, oh, we must throw everything at it. We should just make up things that we're going to put in the game to be able to get it past the funding skew. And then they say, oh, it's really unfair that you don't get the money if you don't get past that funding milestone. No, because you say, we need this much money to make the funding milestone because we need to make this game. If you don't make that much money, then obviously you can't make the same game. And that's what you're pitching to the people. So it's obvious that that's actually a good thing for consumers. So what they've done is they've basically come back, but this time they're not on a Kickstarter, they are on Worldwide Funder. And they're asking for a large amount of money, and they're making Stalker Apocalypse. And they're saying, Stalker is just a word, anyone can use it. It's not, they're not infringing anyone's trademarks or whatever. Okay, so let's go into trademark law. Now, you've probably heard about the things like the Banner Saga King incident where King, who made Candy Crush, have a trademark on the word Saga. And then they were going, oh, Banner Saga, you should give us money or not call your game Banner Saga because we have a trademark on the word Banner Saga. In this instance, the Banner Saga was actually about a literal saga. It was a Viking game, so somewhat understandable. And then you can look at other incidents like, Bethesda and Mojang were kind of in a thing about the word Scrolls because Mojang wanted to call Notch wanted to call his new game Scrolls. And Bethesda were like, well, Elder Scrolls. Now, under American trademark law, this is actually something that they have to do because they have to defend it, otherwise they lose their trademark. It's kind of unfair to both sides because, Scrolls is a common enough word, we're running out of words in the English language that you can trademark by now. However, Bethesda, if they don't defend their trademark, would lose it. And then anyone could call their game, you know, Elder Scrolls. So it's unfair to both sides. Here we have them wanting to call their game Stalker Apocalypse, the spiritual successor to Stalker. Right. Firstly, they're saying, oh, it's Stalker, not S.T.A.L.K.E.R, and no, that doesn't make a difference. Under trademark law, if your trademark is similar enough to be confused with the actual trademark that you're trying to copy, in inverted commas, or at least alleged trying to copy, that doesn't matter. Small changes in spelling and punctuation don't make a difference. Secondly, if you're in the same category, so trademarks are filed for a category, so film, etc., video games, again, they're both video games. Thirdly, if they're trying to compete economically or trying to make money off of the other one's reputation, it's the spiritual successor to Stalker called Stalker Apocalypse. Certainly there. We can keep going if you want. There are many reasons why that they're actually trying to basically infringe on copyright. They've said they've actually filed a trademark for it. However, as far as one article I read could tell, they haven't actually filed a trademark yet. Now, it could be that they filed it and it's in the process of getting done, but it's not in any of the databases that the guy searched for. I would definitely recommend reading that article, by the way. It's down below. Very good article. So, they're back. They're doing dodgy things as before. And in fact, Worldwide Funder provides the money to the person doing the project, regardless of any funding goal they hit. Now, I won't go over how incredibly dodgy their previous Kickstarter was, because I did at least 1 or 2 videos on that in IRL News and mentioned it. I'll probably put the links below if I can find them, or on the screen. Kind of hilarious, really hilarious. They had pictures of people from stock photo images you could find on the internet as people, they were part of the team. They had stolen assets as part of the game work. They had actual concept pictures from Stalker used as their concept pictures. Definitely dodgy. But they're back on Worldwide Funder, which is a website that's basically a dodgy version of Kickstarter where no one gets anything funded to the level they want because they get the money anyway. Don't go looking for them. They're probably going to fail. It's just kind of hilarious that dodgy Kickstarters are still around, but just on different platforms. Which brings me back to the whole thing of there is a reason that Kickstarter only provides the money if you get into a certain threshold. It's a very good reason, because you can't make a game if you say, okay, I need this much to make a game. If I provide you with half that much, you can't make the same game. You can't provide the same product to the customer who funded it. And yes, people who fund Kickstarter are to a certain extent customers. There is now rules in the Kickstarter thing that they have to provide the product that you back. Okay? So, I guess that's it for today. If you've enjoyed today's episode, remember to stay shiny and like the video, and if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Yeah. I've already said stay shiny, so I don't need to say it again. Stay shiny, buddy.